So I was sort of expecting that this might be a question that people had. So I did the PRS Silver Sky SE video looking at it compared to the Mexican player, and I decided that for me in the UK, I didn't feel like the extra price of about £300 on top of the price of the Mexican player really was a good deal for the PRS. Although I did think that in the US, it's much more competitive. They're the same price. I think it's definitely worth checking out a Silver Sky SE for you guys. I'd say try and get your hands on one in the shop or something and see if it works for you. The other thing to say is actually the Silver Sky SE does have quite a nice little case with it, which the Mexican player doesn't come with. But anyway, so the most obvious next thing that people asked me to compare was this guitar with what ostensibly might be a similar kind of thing. So the Sire has the optional soft case I think is way more padded than the PRS one, feels a bit better quality. Slick, really slick. Anyway, yeah, so just bash that's fine. The Sire S7 Vintage. So the thing with both of these guitars, I think, is yes, they kind of look like a Strat, but if you listen to the sound samples, I actually think they sounded quite similar, more similar than I was expecting. I've always found that the Sire pickups to me sound a little bit more modern, less Stratty than you might think, given how the guitar looks. So they're not particularly Stratty pickups. They've got quite a lot of bass, a lot of brightness as well. Similarly, the PRS ones have a lot of bass and mids. So let me know if you think the clips sounded like either the guitar was particularly characterful or anything. To me, I felt like they sounded quite similar. Certainly one wasn't, to me, sounding tonally any better than the other. So I think for me, in terms of tone, there's not really a good argument for either. I feel like they both sound very much in the same ballpark and neither particularly Stratty. Where they really do differ, I think the neck shape is what it's all about. So the way I would describe it is that the Sire is more like a super Strat kind of thing. The Sire, sorry, Freudian slip, is more like a Superstrat take. So think about Sire. This is, I think, where Sire have taken their inspiration. If you look at the Sire kind of neck join, it looks very similar to this. I think probably that's where the neck profile has come from at some point. It's kind of like a bit of an oval shape, a bit slimmer. It's got medium jumbo frets, I think, and a 9.5 radius fretboard, which just feels quite comfortable, very easy to play. And I think you'll see that in some of the clips. On the faster kind of playing stuff, I'm able to play cleaner on this. It's maybe got a slightly flatter fretboard and just a slightly more accessible neck join, you know, maybe is suited more for that kind of faster playing. The PRS very much has like that slightly thicker neck. The radius I think it is 8.5, the radius. Smaller frets, and I'll show you some close-ups to show you that. And a rosewood board. Obviously this is roasted maple. It looks like this could be sticky, but it's actually not. It's quite comfortable. The finish at the back of the neck, for me, the Sire is less sticky. This feels like it might gum up over time or during a gig. It sticks a bit more. This is a very smooth feeling neck. I do like the neck join on the Sire. Both are 2-point trems. The saddles on the PRS look quite cheap, and it has broken 2 strings in the short time that I've owned it. The hardware on the Sire looks to be, I think, slightly better quality, maybe. But yeah, playability wise, the Sire for me is more in that modern kind of feel. The PRS, definitely a thicker neck, smaller frets. I'm not sure what else really there is to say about it. I could try and make the video longer if I was going to. Oh, we got locking hardware as well on the Sire. I think, again, that to me is one area where some people really don't like the PRS. Both have weird looking headstocks as well. So this was based on the Valley Arts headstock, I believe, and this is based on a PRS headstock but in reverse. Some people love it, some people hate it. Similarly, I think this is the sort of headstock that some people are going to love and some people are going to hate. But for me, yeah, the reason to maybe buy the Sire would be that you like the more modern take on a Strat, and you like the more large frets, and maybe you want a slightly flatter radius. You know, there's not much in it. There's only about 1 inch. Whether you'd notice the difference, I'm not sure. But bending on the bigger frets, so it's going to be easier on the Sire, I'd assume. Setup on both, I'd say, is really good in these 2 examples. Of course, with any of these types of guitars, they're coming from Indonesia. You could expect, I guess, some quality issues here and there. But I guess if you're buying new, then you've got the chance to rectify those issues and use your consumer rights, which I'd encourage you to do if you do get a dud. I was expecting things to be maybe a bit more different sounding, but to be honest, the pickups in both of them I think are fairly indistinct. Let me know if you disagree with that. But yeah, both have kind of a fairly thick non-stratty Strat tone, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I think that about sums up my thoughts on that. I think in the UK I'd probably go for the Sire. In the US it's definitely a lot closer. I don't think it's that easy to even get a Sire in the US, but for you over there, the Silver Sky is actually, I think, quite a good deal. I would say I think they look way better in person than they appear to on camera. The finish is actually quite nice. Of course, some people hate the design, which is fair enough. But yeah, which would you buy? Have you had bad experiences with either guitar or good experiences? Which do you like? Of course, there are other options in these kind of price ranges. The Nick Johnston I keep getting told about. I think people really like those. I think the neck is again a bit slimmer, more maybe on the kind of Sire kind of end of things, a bit of a more modern Strat take. And then this neck carve on the PRS I think is something that some people might really like. You know, it's quite thick, which isn't always the way that things shake out. Like Squire Classic Vibe necks are quite slim, American Standard necks are quite slim. This is quite a unique neck carve, and I think if you're looking for more of that vintage style neck which has got a bit of meat to it, then maybe that might be the one for you. If you're looking for the modern style, then go for the Sire. I think both of these could potentially do with a pickup upgrade if you're looking for more vintage style tones, but both super playable. Let me know your thoughts. I'm not sure. The real thing that it comes down to me is whether you're more comfortable playing this more modern style, or you want something that's a bit more stratty, although neither of them sound that stratty. Repetition.